to my channel. Thank you for always coming back. My name is Tayo. If you're new here, I blog about my transition as an adult immigrant from Nigeria to Canada. I recently moved to Canada February this year, and I'm journeying my way all the way to settling because it's a process. If you're returning sub, thank you for always coming back. I hope that we give you value, content, and then you keep coming. Today, we're talking about finding your first apartment in Canada. Apart from trying to find a job, this is another single thing that you need to do here that is quite a job. I want to talk about seven different types of accommodations that newcomers can look into. Luckily, in this area where I live, there's several examples of those kind of accommodation here, so I'm just going to take you guys around. Let's go. So we'll start off with a shared apartment. What's a shared apartment? So prior to you coming, you can be a member of the several Nigerian groups that we have here on WhatsApp or on Facebook, or even just commenting on pages on Instagram. And then you find Nigerians who are here alone, maybe as students or as single people, male or female, that just need a partner to share their house with. It's a good way to start out in Canada that won't break the bank. As an immigrant, you need all the money you can save because you don't know when you actually settle. So if you're coming in as a single lady or a guy, or you're coming in alone at first as a student, you might want to consider sharing an apartment. Person might have like a condo, more than one room condo, or they have like an apartment in all those big buildings, tall buildings. So some of them have 2 rooms, or 2 rooms. It's always convenient to have like a 2 room, and then you just share. You share the house rent, you share the bills, all the bills, and it's very convenient because you're not going to sign the lease, so that's taken away from you. They don't check your credit reports, that's taken away from you. So it's actually the best way for a single person to get accommodation once they land Canada. We have a family that has a room to spare, so maybe the family bought a house and it's a 3-bed house, and maybe they only have 2 children who are just toddlers, same sex. They can move them to one room while you rent a room. That way you really save a lot. So if, for example, it's a townhouse like where I live, and they pay about $2,500 or so, they can charge you $500 for that room. And provided they are your very good friends, because you share their kitchen, you share their washroom, everything, but you're going to save yourself. You have to humble yourself truly, because to settle down properly in Canada, it takes a lot of humility. Yes, you might be living in your parents' mansion in Lagos, or even living in your own apartment. Here, to settle down and to save as much as you can, you need to humble yourself for the first couple of months. So that might be an option too. That might be another option for a single person or someone coming to Canada alone at first as a student. So next we talk about basement apartment. Basement apartment. I always hear a lot of bad things about it on Instagram, and if you follow me well, and maybe the pages I follow, you see that I'm always trying to debunk it. Well, there are 2 types of basement apartments. We have walk-in basement apartment. We have walk-out basement apartment. Basement apartment that we stayed when we landed was the walk-in because it has limited light. I didn't take pictures, a lot of pictures when we were in that basement apartment because it was too cold. It was more like we're living by the day. So but I have a couple of videos I took in, so it could give you an idea. Come and join me, excuse me now. Wetin mango do? Wetin mango do? Wetin mango do? Wetin mango do? Sometimes you want to say every now you slap your flashy razor. Oh! Jay, don't spoil my video. Don't spoil my video, Joe. Oh, Jaden, don't spoil my, don't kill my bite. Sorry, baby. Mommy's dancing. And maybe one picture that I saw on somebody else's page, I'll share it. So basement apartments generally are, you know how people build houses or here in North America, the houses are extended all the way down. So so you have the actual ground floor, and then you have a floor below that ground floor. That's where a basement apartment is. So most of the time, people have like finished basements. So it's because some people have basements that are not finished. People buy houses with finished basements and then use the basements as another source of revenue for the family. Some use it. I know that if I get a house, I'll make it a soft landing for new immigrants, just like it was done for us. Because our friends, we reached out to them to help us get Airbnb, and they suggested to us that if we do not mind, they had a one-room basement apartments that they could rent out. They were worried maybe we won't be comfortable. We are 4 family of 4, blah blah blah. But I already have a mindset that with leaving your country to a new country, you should be ready to, humble yourself enough until you actually do settle down. So basement apartment, they have their pros, they have their cons, but in general, it's a great way to save money as a family. So you could get like a one-room basement apartment, like the way the walk-in one that we got. It didn't have a kitchen or it had a washroom by itself, but we were sharing the kitchen with our friends because they are friends, so we could cook in their kitchen and they allowed that. But we have walkout basement apartments that actually have their separate entrance or exit from the house, so it's like a self-contained. That's what it is like. That's like in layman Nigerian language. Walkout basement apartment is a self-contained because you have everything. You have your washroom, you have a kitchen, you have everything that you need as a family. You don't even need to see your landlord every day. That's the good thing about the walkout one. It's like a self-contained, generally like Nigerian self-contained. So it could be 2 rooms with a living room. It could be 1 room like what we had, and kitchen and all that. So it's actually pretty cool. However, it has its pros and it has its cons. The good part of it is the fact that there's more emphasis on your credit. All those, like when we want to get a house, they check our credit. We're buying, we're renting. So there's less emphasis on that, and they're easily accessible. So if you're coming, you can go on Kijiji, you can go on Facebook Marketplace. People usually advertise basements for rent actually there. So, and then word of mouth too. So people that know people that rent apartments and all that. So they always spread the word. So it's a good way to start as a family, to be honest. And you get to save a lot of money because you are not actually sure when it will click for you here in Canada. So even though you are coming with money, we expected that you come with your proof of funds, but it is advisable also. And then one of the good part of it also is that you get to pay your rent monthly. So unlike when you get your apartment, like a townhouse or like where we're staying, we had to pay 6 months rent in advance because we weren't really sure of our credibility. So for this one, you pay month on month. So one of the highest disadvantage for me is the fact that it has little or no lights. So because it has little or no lights, it can be depressing at times, and that's me being sincere. So you can imagine how it was for me when COVID started and the lockdown started, and we're in a dark place. Yeah, well, there was light, but not a lot of light, so it could be depressing. Yeah, that's it. That's the reality. So brace yourself up for that. Also, it can be pretty cold. We came in February, so it was like coming out of the airport was like getting into a freezer for us because we're coming from a climate that was about 30 degrees like it is right now in Canada. So imagine if you now live permanently with children in a space that is pretty cold. So you need to brace yourself for that. Thankfully, our friends also that hosted us, they also lived in a basement apartment when they landed, so they kind of had an idea. So before we landed, they already bought extra heating and they gave it to us as we landed, so that was good. So we had our duvets, we had extra heating, so it wasn't that bad. But without that, it's pretty cold, and that's the reality, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie about that. Houses in Canada, the houses in Canada are made out of wood. So if you're living underground, for example, if people on top of you crawl, you will hear. So if you're a light sleeper, just know that for the duration of the time you're living in the basement apartment, you will not sleep so long in the morning. So for us, our host, they had children, and I'm a very light sleeper. I wake up very early by default in the morning. So I found myself, once the children wake up like this at 6 o'clock, I'm awake because they run up and down. Even when they walk, I literally hear, because everywhere is made of wood. So it's always waking me up. So if you're a light sleeper, sorry, you're not gonna get enough sleep. But it's a sacrifice that you have to make until you actually just settle down. So it's worth it for $800 per month by December. That we're going to talk about is what we call apartment buildings. So for clarity's sake, I will just compare it to like service apartments in Nigeria, those flats that you have in like tall buildings in Nigeria that people live. So it's kind of similar because it's the same concept. The good thing about it is that if you know, when you just land, you are not mobile, you don't have a car, so you might want to live like in the middle of the city center where everything is happening. So they're easily accessible to buses, easily accessible to malls and places that you might want to frequently go to. So yeah, the apartment building might be a good option. The good thing about it is that so they have most of them have like gyms. Even though it's a shared service, and you might actually have to pay a token for it. And yeah, so that's one of the good things about it. So it's good, it's easily accessible to everywhere, it's in the middle of the city, which is pretty cool if you're into something like that. However, it has its own disadvantages. Most of them, from what I'm aware of talking to people, they share. So there's a central heating and cooling system that is being controlled, because like, okay, you guys know how they control electricity in 1004, for example. It's kind of like that. So they pay for the rent plus the bills, electricity, so everything is like centralized. So it's centralized cooling and heating, which I find so I don't know, because what is cold to me might not be cold to you. You know, some of us just arrived Canada, so when people are talking about like this weather now, I love it. It's about 30 degrees and I love it. I literally come out and just take the sun in. That's why I'm doing this video out. But for someone that has been in Canada, like my neighbors, for example, their air condition is always on because they probably have been in Canada forever. So you can't actually control when you do a centralized cooling, for example. It's kind of, I don't know. That's for me though. Also, the laundry system, so the washer and the dryer is always like in a common laundry room where all like people that live in the apartments might have to go to. Sometimes they pay extra for using those resources, which I find, because I can wake up 2 a.m. in the morning and decide to do my laundry on a very funny Wednesday. So it's quite inconveniencing for me. But I guess, as I always say, when you move to a new place, you need to humble yourself. If that's what you can afford, then you just stick with it. I am aware that in the city where I am, around the city where I am, these apartments go for about 2,000 to 2,002 for like a one bed, 2 bed apartment, which is pretty cool because that amount is inclusive of the bill. So it's inclusive of electricity, gas, and all that. So that's how they kind of pay in those kind of climbs. So it's actually something that newcomers should check out. Yeah. If you want to be in the middle, if you're into that kind of thing, being where it's happening, you might want to check the apartment. Condominium.
An apartment building or a group of houses in which each flat, apartment, or house is owned by the person living in it, but the shared areas are owned by everyone together.
So the next I'm going to talk about is the condominium. also known as the condos. These ones too are pretty cool. Minions are very similar to apartments. The only difference is like apartments, buildings, which is owned by just one person corporation and lays out to you guys, like to people. The condos can be bought individually by individuals and then rented out. But the good thing about condos is that in terms of taking care of the apartments, clearing the snow, and doing all the lawn and all that stuff is done by the homeowners association. So you actually just pay for everything and it's done for you, and it's pretty cool. It's good for a small family. It's good for people who don't just like stress, to be honest, because it's actually cool. The cost is just slightly cheaper than a townhouse. However, it's very close to an apartment, because we see those ones are between 2000 and 2002, depending on the numbers of rooms. For this two is also about, I know the one I saw was 2002, was a 3-bed in the area which I'm living, Milton. And yeah, so it was pretty cool. I think the only thing that discouraged me was the space. I felt that space wasn't. It's like a block of is a block that has several apartments in the block. So when they're even sharing their addresses, for example, they're going to say number 200 units 1. So it's a whole house, but they now have different units in it. So it's pretty cool. It's something that you might want to check out as a newcomer. So between 2002 and 2003, you can get a very decent apartment with a garage, for a condo. So the next type of house that we're going to talk about is called the townhouse. That's kind of a house I'm TV area that has the TV room, breakfast table, dining table, whichever you have, and it has the open space for the kitchen. That has maybe like about 2 or more floors. Ours has 2 floors, no basement. It will come with a garage. Pretty cool, spacious. Here in Ontario and GTA, where we actually do stay, based on my experiences, a townhouse you can get from between 2003 to 2008, depending on how new the apartment is. So ours is a new build, about 2 years. We're lucky to get it for mid of that, and it's pretty decent. The final house I'll talk about is called the detached house. Standalone house with a garage. Most of those houses kind of come with a basement. So those are the kind of houses that people aspire to buy eventually when they buy houses, when you're not a new immigrant. So those houses are pretty cool. It's good when you have a big family or you and another family want to share bills and the cost of renting. If you're lucky enough to get a realtor that can sell that idea to another realtor or the owner's realtor, then you're lucky for you. Then it save you a lot of cost and all that. So yeah, so the single detached house is an option for you to consider as a newcomer. But if you're a large family and you have money, because I remember from my experience when I was looking for accommodation, those houses were going from about 2,700 to 50, which is pretty high for a newcomer that is coming in and is going to have to pay 6 months. You can do the math. Well, if they're coming with a lot of money, yeah, that's an option. So two families can rent one and share, or they rent a whole one and then rent out the basements as extra income to, to add to the rent. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You subscribe. Yes, you subscribe. Oh yeah, subscribe now. Getting your apartments in Canada as a new immigrant is a whole lot of work. You can what people always advise, if you do not, you can reach out to your circle of friends, tell them, maybe some people that have been in Canada for a while already bought their own houses, they can rent their basements to you. You can be lucky, just like we were, and so you can get accommodation even before you come to Canada. Otherwise, it's advisable for you to maybe start with Airbnb for 2 weeks. Just know that you're going to struggle to look for that apartment when, God help you, come during the winter days. It's not a good experience, but as I always say, just prep your mind and brace yourself for the worst, because it will definitely be better eventually. So as I always tell my friends, look within your circle of friends. You could be lucky. You can talk to me, for example. 1 year down the line, I'll have bought my own detached house and I'll have my business. You never know. And you can look out. There are very, very useful websites like Viewit.ca, Kijiji.ca, Facebook Marketplace. But my advice to you, please, if you can, always try to view the apartment. Do not rely on the 3D viewing online. I went to a couple of houses that I was almost convinced that was going to be my future apartment until I actually viewed it and I changed my mind. So yeah, because most of the lease of these houses are between 6 and 1 year, you have to ensure that you do not make mistakes from the start. If not, you pack into the house and you are looking forward to packing out, and it's always, if you're not comfortable in your own space, honestly, it will be very difficult to actually thrive in other aspects of your life, and I know that from experience. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this information very, very useful. I would have if I was a new immigrant coming from Nigeria. So if you did, kindly share with your friends. Share with your friends that are back home coming to Canada, or even those that are not even started the process, are on the verge of starting the process. Let them know what they're getting into. And please subscribe to my channel. Subscribe. Thank you. Until next time, see ya.